Today's show is sponsored by the Electric Vehicle Association. Join up to support the electrification of transport and get the help you need to finance your own EV or clean energy future. And by Energy Sage. Visit the link in the description to find local verified solar experts, community projects, and heat pump specialists in your area. And by Atmos Financial. Bank better with a financial technology company that's powered by a portfolio of clean energy investments. Welcome back to another episode of TEN, Transport Evolved News. We start today with a story that is US-based, but which will have an impact on the whole world. The official inauguration of Donald Trump as the 47th US president. I know many will be frustrated that we're actually covering this, but given its wide-reaching consequences, we feel we need to. Aside from strongly condemning the actions of Tesla's CEO during Monday's official celebrations, we'd like to focus on the slew of executive orders signed by President Trump on day one. In addition to curtailing and removing civil rights across the nation for many, he announced an immediate withdrawal from the Paris Climate Accord and the World Health Organization. He leveraged a legal loophole to declare an energy emergency, granting oil and gas companies free rein to drill on previously protected federal lands for fossil fuels, and announced a halt to leasing federal land for wind or solar farms. And because it was a federal emergency, he declared, he gave the US government and military free power to seize land using eminent domain. He's instructed various agencies to freeze handing out funds previously earmarked for renewable energy and EV projects, and has announced an end to what he called President Biden's EV mandate, which was in fact not a mandate, but a goal of having at least one half of all new vehicles sold in the US be electric by 2030, a goal which wasn't actually legally binding. Many of the executive orders signed on day one are based on thin legal premise, so expect plenty of court cases to come, and we'll try and keep you abreast of them as they happen. Following on from that bombshell, we're already starting to see the impact of Monday's inauguration on the wider EV world. Sadly, while this is happening in the US, its impacts will be global. In California, the California Air Resources Board announced that it has withdrawn its request to the EPA to allow it to enact proposed advanced clean fleets rules that would have required heavy haulage firms in California to transition to zero-emission vehicles for fleets that were quoted as well suited to electrification. Also this week, Stellantis-owned Ram announced that it will be killing its plans for a long-range 500-mile capable Ram 1500 REV electric pickup truck. Instead, it plans on focusing on promoting its plug-in hybrid variant for long-distance use and saving a standard range model for round-town use. It's not clear, though, if that model will actually end up making it to production in the current political climate. And it's not just Stellantis. This week, Nissan confirmed its shelving plans to produce a Rogue-sized electric crossover SUV for the US market. While it plans on bringing a similar model outside of US to production, I think it's pretty clear that automakers are lining up to take advantage of these changes in policy. And I'm sorry, we have another sad piece of news to cover here as well, namely that US-based EV startup Canoo is officially out of money and has ceased all operations. As you might have guessed from last week's show, the signs have been there for a while that Canoo was in financial trouble, having furloughed most of its staff before the end of last year. As announced on Monday, the company, which was in the process of trying to satisfy loan requirements from the US Department of Energy, was unable to meet the conditions set out in the loan offer and therefore wasn't able to obtain any of the funds it applied for. Rather than enter into Chapter 11 bankruptcy, which would have given it more of a hope of survival, it's entered into Chapter 7 bankruptcy, which focuses on liquidation of the company assets to recover debts. There's also been no further news on allegations that the firm was owed a substantial sum of money by its CEO, but we should expect further investigations into the matter, given the fact that last year the firm spent more than twice its annual revenue on private jet flights for said CEO. Then again, this is America, so yay. To happier news now, courtesy of word of an impending deal between Hyundai and General Motors that would see Hyundai rebadge commercial electric vehicles to sell to GM. While both brands are growing and have pretty robust portfolios in the passenger vehicle EV marketplace, GM is said to be interested in buying commercial vehicles from Hyundai built on its ST1 EV business platform. Designed for a wide variety of uses and engineered to come in box van, refrigerated van and chassis cab variants, it could help GM fill the gap between its current electric pickup trucks and its Chevrolet BrightDrop offerings. Forming a partnership would also allow each firm to save some serious money on EV development and perhaps even allow continued development and production of EVs at a time and a rate where the US federal government is expected to become very anti-EV. The world of eVTOL has been a pretty shaky world lately and had a bad end to 2024 and start to 2025. But this week, Chinese firm EHang was celebrating a new milestone for the company. According to the firm, its EH216S completed a successful inaugural demo flight in downtown Shanghai, carrying passengers without a pilot on board. The flights were made possible after the company received the first type certificate, production certificate, and standard airworthiness certificate from the Civil Aviation Authority of China. The firm says it plans on establishing eVTOL air taxi services throughout Shanghai and in other cities along the Yangtze River Delta in the coming years, which is part of a wider plan from the Chinese government to establish Shanghai as a leading hub for eVTOL operations by the end of 2027. EHang already has a base of operations at the Longhua Airport in Shanghai and plans further transit hubs in the coming months, although it is still only conducting demo flights as opposed to commercial operations. As we've noted on the channel before, if you drive a modern EV, the chances are it has some form of advanced telecommunications in it to allow you to remotely interact with and monitor your car. But as we've also said plenty on the channel, getting some form of features like this in your EV opens you up to the possibility of data breaches. And this week, we heard that's exactly what happened earlier last year at Subaru. As published on Thursday, white hat security experts Sam Curry and Shubham Shah have discovered a pretty egregious vulnerability in the Subaru Starlink connected vehicle service used by Subaru owners in North America and Japan. They said that they were able to access remote start, stop, lock and unlock functionality of customers' cars, retrieve personally identifiable information about current and previous owners, and track vehicle location, all by knowing just a few key points about the victim's last name, address, and other stuff. Like a previous hack they discovered, they could also associate new owners with vehicles without the owner's knowledge. It's important to note that Subaru Starlink is different from the satellite internet service of the same name, and Subaru patched the vulnerability back in November after being told about the exploit. Volvo has officially refreshed its EV lineup for 2025, making a few tweaks here and there and giving its XC40 Recharge a new name. In the US, Volvo has officially launched the EX30 compact SUV with the extended range twin-motor variant now available at dealerships in two different trim variants, both offering a claimed 253 miles or 407 kilometers of range per charge. A shorter range single motor variant is coming in the future. At the same time, Volvo confirmed the starting price of its EX90 for the 2025 model year in the US, coming in at just under $80,000 in 7-seat guise and going up to just under $90,000 in the highest spec trim. And in order to streamline its family of EVs, Volvo also rebadged its XC40 Recharge to become the EX40. It's an easier, shorter name, but don't get too excited. The rest of the car is pretty much the same as it was last year, albeit with a slightly faster DC fast charge capability. The C40 Recharge, its coupe sibling, won't be made this year. Last year wasn't a great year for electric two-wheelers. And it doesn't look like 2025 is off to any better start, with Kiwi firm UBCO announcing on Monday that it had entered into receivership. The firm has made a name for itself by producing a range of utility and off-road capable motorcycles with an emphasis on practicality rather than top speed. To date, its all-wheel drive 2x2 models have found homes working on wildlife preserves, farms, and even in service with the military, while a deal announced last year with the Australian Postal Service looked like it would give UBCO a new revenue stream, working with delivery services around the world. But with the company now in the hands of receivers Grant Thornton, the signs are that the company may not survive. We will, of course, keep you abreast of the situation as it develops, but those close to the company suggest things aren't looking all that positive. He's hoping a new buyer is found. With all the not-so-great news we've covered today, I'm going to finish this segment with some good stuff, and let's start with a study that shows farmers don't even have to choose between growing crops and harvesting electrons. Despite what some misinformed politicians and groups might have you believe, installing photovoltaic solar panels in an agricultural application doesn't cause major issues for farmers, especially if the solar panels are two-sided vertical panels placed between each crop row. As detailed in a new exhaustive study from academics at the Aarhus University in Denmark, vertically placed dual-sided photovoltaic panels not only allow farmers to harvest energy while growing crops, but they also help provide shade during the hottest parts of the day, reduce wind speeds across the field, and help maintain crop humidity levels throughout the day. The study hasn't been peer-reviewed yet, but it is one of the first of its kind, and if you'd like us to dig deeper, let us know in the comments below. And finally for this segment, more good news, this time from researchandmarkets.com, which claims that it predicts the US electric vehicle market is still on track to grow despite, It examined the EV marketplace in the US for 2024 and predicts it forward through until 2033. It estimates that EV sales will enjoy a compound annual growth rate, or CAGR, of just over 11% for the next 8 years, reaching a market value of $537.53 billion by 2033. While the new administration in the US is likely to do some things in the coming years that will impact EV adoption rates, analysts at the firm suggest that current and future EVs, many of which fit into the 151-mile to 300-mile range segment, have allowed more people to switch to electric and, given increased concerns and awareness of fighting anthropogenic climate change, will continue to pave the way for future EV adoption. Ultimately, it paints a picture that suggests people have really lost all reasons not to go electric, and I really, really hope this report is right. Our news shorts are coming in a second, but first, a word from one of today's video sponsors, Energy Sage. Energy Sage helps homeowners connect with local, verified solar installers across the US and heat pump specialists in select markets who really know their stuff and can help you navigate the process of installing solar panels, help you join a community solar program, or get a heat pump installed. We used Energy Sage here when we were looking for installers willing to help us put solar panels on the roof of our home, and our Energy Sage verified installers were professional, knowledgeable, and put us in touch with an amazing credit union that allowed us to finance our solar panels for as low a monthly payment as possible. So follow the links below to sign up for either of Energy Sage's free, no-obligation services and get the ball rolling today. If you choose to use an Energy Sage installer for your project, we will also get a small referral fee, so you'll be helping the channel too. Help the grid get greener, save money, and support us. It's a win-win-win. And now it's time for those news shorts. Chevrolet has issued a recall alert for its Equinox EV after it was discovered that faulty adaptive cruise control software in its all-wheel drive variants could lead to a failure in the affected vehicle's braking systems. A faulty software calibration is believed to be the root cause of the problem. Ford has recalled certain F-150 Lightning pickup trucks to address potentially incorrectly torqued front control arm ball joint nuts, and it's reached out to affected owners to begin an official recall campaign later this month. My personal truck is in the recall, so expect a video on this at some point. Late last week, Australian mining company Ioneer received a conditional loan increase worth $268 million from the US Department of Energy to help it complete its new lithium mining facility in the US state of Nevada. Given the recent change in government, it's not actually clear if the loan increase will be honoured under Donald Trump's announced funding freeze. Charging network Fastned has announced that it will be adding restroom facilities to many of its charging parks across Belgium and the Netherlands. In total, it has commissioned 100 restrooms to be built across its network, with the first one due to open before the end of this quarter. Last week on this show, we told you about US firm ChargePoint's answer to charging station cable theft and vandalism. And this week, it's the turn of UK firm EVolt. It's announced that it will be installing new alarms to help deter cable theft at DC fast charging sites across the UK. BYD has officially just launched its fourth car-carrying roll-on, roll-off ship, allowing it to expand the number of vehicles it can deliver around the world. Primarily designed to ship EVs to markets outside of China, it's the largest BYD-owned cargo ship to date and can carry 9,200 cars. 6 months after first unveiling its all-electric e-transport service, logistics company Hödlmayr has begun operating Austria's first e-transport service between the Magna production facility in Graz and the Hödlmayr logistics site. The truck charges overnight and during 1-hour breaks between production shifts. UK telecommunications firm BT has scrapped plans to turn former telephone exchange street switch cabinets into EV charging stations. While the firm began a test program for the same, it's decided to focus its efforts on improving wireless internet access at and near existing EV charging sites instead. BYD has officially unveiled refreshed versions of its Tang L and Han L models in China, both available as long wheelbase plug-in hybrid and battery electric vehicles. The two vehicles are the latest BYD models to get refreshed, and while they look similar to their predecessors, they feature dramatically improved performance specs. Utrect has announced that it plans on converting a sizable number of former petrol stations to electric fast-charging sites in the coming 5 years. Part of the Municipal Council's Transition Petrol Stations programme, up to 30 new fast-charging sites will be built. Engineering firm AVL has unveiled a new digital battery passport that is hoped will be used by the auto industry to help comply with EU's upcoming 2027 digital battery passport rules. It aims to make it easier for automakers to assemble and track battery information through production, utilising its own in-house management system. Reporting from Autocar in the UK suggests that Citroën is considering bringing back its iconic 2CV as an all-electric city car. It's become something of a trend in recent years for automakers to bring popular classic nameplates back for the electric age, and rumours suggest the chauffeur design won't change much from the original. Continuing its push towards electrifying the delivery fleet around the world, FedEx has announced it's added 10 new LDV eDeliver 9 electric vehicles to its Auckland fleet in Aotearoa, New Zealand. FedEx says the vehicles can easily cover 200 kilometres a day with no problems. Chinese battery specialist CATL, the world's largest battery manufacturer, saw its stock slip a little this week as it warned that it expects its 2024 year-end financial revenue to be lower than it was in the previous year. It would be the first time in its history it's seen a drop in profits. Rivian is trying to encourage existing R customers to upgrade to its latest variants, and it's willing to give them up to $6,000 off the price of a new one. There have been some substantial under-the-floor improvements to the R1 series since they first launched, improving range and performance. Electric tractor firm Monarch has announced it's established a European subsidiary as it aims to bring its Mark V electric tractor to Europe. Primarily designed to work on smaller farms and in tight spaces, such as you might find in an orchard, it should prove popular with smallholders across the region. The entire Dallas Cowboys American football team has just completed a deal that gives every member of the team a brand new Cake Macker electric moped. For those who don't remember Cake, which was in financial troubles, last year it was purchased and has now been given a second chance. And this is quite the PR coup. China's published renewable energy deployment figures for 2024 were released this week, showing that last year the PRC deployed a record-breaking amount of renewable energy generation, up 14.6% year-over-year, 3,348 gigawatts of power generation capacity was installed across the nation. Nissan has chosen the city of Kitayachu as the home to a brand new LFP battery production facility. Due to begin construction this year, it will represent a 53.3 billion yen investment from the company and pave the way towards a full transition to LFP battery packs. Škoda has begun production at its most affordable all-electric car to date, the Škoda Elroq, due to begin sales in Europe shortly. The facility will eventually churn out around 600 vehicles per day, all built on the same Volkswagen MEB platform used in the car's largest sibling, the Škoda Enyaq. Meanwhile, Škoda's parent company, Volkswagen, is readying another massive investment in its joint venture with Rivian. On the news that Volkswagen is planning on increasing its total investment in the endeavour above the previously agreed on $5.8 billion, Rivian stock rose significantly. Nissan's UK Sunderland production facility has confirmed that it secured powertrain supply contracts for the next-generation Nissan Leaf and an all-new, all-electric SUV for the brand. That SUV is the same model that's just been pulled from US production plans but will be produced in other parts of the world for sale elsewhere. Abu Dhabi is closing in on the completion of the world's largest single photovoltaic solar plant. Built in the capital of the UAE, it will combine 5.2 gigawatts of photovoltaic panels and 19 gigawatt hours of grid-tied battery storage to provide power to the region 24 hours a day. The US Department of Energy has removed the Hyundai Ioniq 5, Ioniq 9 and Genesis GV70 from its list of EV models that qualify for full federal tax incentives. The removal is due to sourcing ineligibility from their battery packs, but the point is likely moot, given President Trump's eager to axe the program as quickly as possible. Cadillac has unveiled its most powerful Lyriq model to date, the range-topping Lyriq V. While it was officially teased last year, 2025 is the first time the model goes on sale. It has a 3.3-second sprint time and is, says Cadillac, the quickest Cadillac ever made. Polestar has confirmed that it plans on replacing the Polestar 2 with an all-new model by the end of the decade. While the Polestar 2 remains on sale today, it saw a significant drop in model choice last year and has played very much a second fiddle to its SUV sibling, the Polestar 3. Chevrolet has expanded its Silverado EV choice for 2025, launching a new EVLT trim level between the work truck and the RST. This means, after nearly 2 years of waiting, customers can now buy a Silverado EV in non-work truck variants for just under $60,000 before incentives instead of nearly $100,000. Suffering abysmal sales last year, Toyota is working hard to encourage people to get behind the wheel of its Mirai fuel cell sedan, and right now will happily sell you one for around $17,000, as well as throw in a free $15,000 hydrogen fuel cell card. That price is 70% off its MSRP. Battery specialist SK On has announced a new series of R&D breakthroughs in the development of its next-generation solid-state battery packs. The biggest breakthrough involves using ultra-fast photonic sintering to make solid electrolytes instead of using the traditional printed circuit board manufacturing method. If you're in the US and you're in the market for an Ioniq 5 from Hyundai, you'll be pleased to know that you can now get a free home charging station as part of your purchase. Previously only available for Ioniq 5N customers, the free charging station deal proved very popular and it's been rolled out to other variants. Polestar has confirmed that its next all-electric model to launch after the Polestar 5 will be a compact SUV called the Polestar 7. Following on from the existing naming convention set up by the brand, it's going to be manufactured in Europe. Polestar also confirmed that the Polestar 5 will make its production launch this year. After heavy pressure from dealerships who said they were forced to invest vast sums of money into infrastructure in order to sell its EVs, Ford is now apparently repaying certain dealerships the money invested. Ford no longer requires dealerships to install DC fast chargers in order to be eligible to sell EVs, hence its new reimbursement program. Sales data from Europe shows that last year there were more electric vehicles sold and registered across the EU than diesel-powered ones. More than 1.4 million electric vehicles were sold last year in the EU, down slightly on the previous year, but for the second year in a row, EVs outsold diesel. Also in the EU, solar energy generation overtook coal-fired generation for the first time last year, accounting for 11% of all generation versus coal's 10%. While many countries in Europe had much higher total solar generation percentages, the overall number was dragged down by those that didn't. The US Federal Trade Commission has banned General Motors from selling data from its customers' cars and their telematics systems. Its smart driver program was found guilty of monitoring people's precise geolocation and driver information as frequently as every 3 seconds, which it was then selling on to insurance companies. After stating that its Macan would be an all-electric model from 2026, there are now rumours suggesting that Porsche is about to renege on that commitment. While it currently produces gasoline and electric Macans, the plan was to make it only electric in 2026. Now it looks like Porsche is looking for an ICE model as well. As it prepares to bring its first all-electric model to market, Ferrari is preparing a fake exhaust sound to pipe into said model. Ferrari's sounds are unmistakable on the open road, and while I understand why Ferrari feels it's essential to have, here's hoping the sound, which will likely be very badly generated, will be configurable and be capable of being turned off. BYD is readying its newest EV production facility for official opening. The firm opened its first non-Chinese EV production facility in Thailand at the end of last year, and the firm's CEO confirmed this week that a second production facility for EVs to sell outside of China will be open by the end of this year. Electric box van delivery truck specialist Harbinger has announced this week that it's closed its Series B funding round with $100 million in the bank. While other rival firms have had a rough few years getting funds, its investor list includes Tiger Global, Coca-Cola System Sustainability Fund, and Arcturn Ventures. And finally, for the news shorts, researchers in Germany are working on a new way to monitor the health of lithium-ion battery packs in Second Life projects by using computed tomography to examine the inside of a battery cell without having to rip it apart. The team says this gives them a more accurate idea of how healthy a battery pack truly is. And those are your news shorts. There will be more next week. Our final 2 stories are coming in a moment, but first, a quick word from friend of the channel, Atmos Financial. Imagine a bank where your savings not only grow, but also go towards growing a greener world. That is exactly what Atmos Financial does for you. With Atmos, every dollar in your checking and savings account is funding projects that light up lives with solar energy rather than fossil fuels. Atmos is banking that builds a better tomorrow with every swipe of your card today because it's committed to investing 100% into clean, equitable and sustainable progress. With a competitive savings rate and a mobile app, your finances and the climate go hand in hand. It charges no monthly fees and there are no minimums keeping you awake at night. It offers accessible solar loans for those who want to give the fossil fuel industry the ultimate middle finger. By joining Atmos using the link below, you're not only choosing a smarter way to bank, you're planting seeds for a healthier earth. And since every sign-up supports this channel, it means we can keep bringing you the content you love. I'm personally a customer, and I love knowing that I'm helping save money while also making sure my money doesn't end up funding the fossil fuel industry. And as always, thanks to Atmos for sponsoring the show. And now it's time for those last 2 stories. Formula E is gearing up for the start of its latest season, and for the first time ever in the FIA race series, the vehicles will be able to get a quick charging boost mid-race. Unlike the early series where drivers physically jumped out of one car and into another, this year's race series will leverage 600 kilowatt DC fast chargers to make it possible for cars to get approximately 3.85 kilowatt hours of boost to their battery packs in around 30 seconds. While that might not sound like a large amount of power, it's approximately 10% of the total energy storage capacity in this season's race cars, and it will make it possible for drivers to become a little more aggressive and engaged on the track without increasing the pack size for cars. The first race of the season with pit boost will take place on February 14th in Jeddah, and I'm sure we'll hear more about the tech during the season. Sadly, the race series isn't returning to Portland, Oregon this year, picking Miami, Florida instead, where much of our team are illegal now, so we won't be able to attend this year. Sorry. And finally, regardless of what some might think about solar power, it's really difficult to dismiss the impact that affordable solar power has made on the modern world. But while ground-based solar energy is awesome, weather can impact generation capabilities, which is why scientists around the world have been looking into the possibility of using in-orbit solar farms combined with microwave power transmission to generate clean power all year round. A few years ago, scientists at Caltech demonstrated measurable microwave power transmission from a solar array in space for the very first time, and this week we learned that China is readying its own space program to launch what it says will be a similar capacity generator to its Three Gorges Dam in central China. While this is early days, China's goal appears to install a solar array fitted with microwave power transmitters in a geostationary orbit some 36,000 kilometers above the Earth. The goal is certainly massive, but there's not a lot of data about how far along the project is. And because China is known for hyping things up on the international stage, only time will tell if this particular project will ultimately see the light of day, or should that be the light of the sun 24/7. And on that note, we are done for today. As always, a massive thank you to the Electric Vehicle Association for sponsoring today's show. They've been advocating for electric vehicles since 1967 and firmly believe that our future depends on us making the switch to clean, green electric cars today. The EVA can help you find someone near to you who can help you make the switch to electric. It can help you become an EV educator, and it can point you in the direction of monthly meetups for like-minded EV fans. Plus, if you become a member, you'll gain access to a clean energy and EV loan program set up between the EVA and the Colorado Clean Energy Credit Union. You can find out more by heading to myeva.org. And thanks to Energy Sage. Follow the link below to find out how easy it can be to get verified, trustworthy solar experts, helping you make the step towards energy self-sufficiency through solar panels on the roof of your home, by joining a community solar project, or by getting a heat pump installed. And thanks to Atmos Financial. Bank better by following the link below. And if you are someone who made your own transportation or energy greener this week, well done. If you would like to support this channel directly, please consider supporting us from $1.50 a month on Patreon or just under $13 a year if you pay annually. We are viewer supported because we believe the information we produce should be free to everyone. So if you support us, thank you, because YouTube no longer is. Don't forget, too, that we have swag you can buy over at our swag store, and one-off donations are now possible using Ko-fi, Bitcoin, or old-fashioned checks. I also want to tell you about a new Amazon affiliate program code that you can use if you decide to support Mr. Bezos. We don't like Amazon here at the channel, but since Amazon allocates a percentage of its funds either to affiliates or to its own coffers from every purchase, we would honestly rather you help us out than help out Jeff get richer if and when you have to use the site. So there is a link in the down below. This year, we're changing things up and we publish on a Tuesday, Thursday and Saturday on our main channel, and you'll find something from us on Sunday on TE Take 2. To finish, 2 things. First, remember that you are valid, you are loved, and you have a place in this world. Even if, like some of the team here, you've been effectively erased from any legal status this week. It is a scary, scary time to be in the US right now. And honestly, I have spent most of my week alternating between tears and anger. But no. Existence is resistance, and that makes it harder for hate to exist. So be inspirational. Be yourself, be bold, and do good. Don't let hatred win. And for goodness sake, please make up some safety phrases and escape plans you can use with your friends and family if you are someone who needs to use them. And if you are watching this and thinking that I'm being hyperbolic or exaggerating, bless your hearts, just read the news. Or perhaps the multiple violent threats we've got this week for standing up for what's good. Anyway, second, I want to send our thoughts to those who are still caught up in the devastating LA wildfires. I cannot imagine how it feels to be there right now or to be used as a political football in this context. But if you are watching and you are able to send help to those in that situation, I'm going to put some links to places down below where you can donate money, food, and other things to help those displaced. So, until next time, stay safe regardless of your identity or who you love. Be an amazing ally. Be kind. Be that positive change you want to see in the world. And please, for the sake of everyone's future, don't let hate or ignorance win. Don't make excuses for abhorrent behaviour. And as always, keep evolving.